So this next lesson is going to be over the interior and exterior angles of triangles, and this video itself is going to focus in on the interior angle theorem. So, interior angle theorem is the sum of the measures of the interior angles of a triangle is 180 degrees. So in looking at the image, we know that the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3 will equal 180 degrees. And so that's the gist of this first section of our notes today. So find the missing angle measures in each triangle. I know on your notes it's a little hard to see, but we're going to find these missing angles. And so in order to do that, for angle 1, I know that I'm going to have the measure of angle 1 plus the 32 degrees plus the 43 is going to equal 180. So from here I'm going to take 32 plus 43, and we get 75. So we have the measure of angle 1 plus 75 will equal 180. And then I'm going to, in order to solve for the measure of angle 1, I'm going to subtract 75 from both sides. So the measure of angle 1 will equal 105 degrees. And so that's my answer for this first triangle. Moving on to the second triangle, I know that the measure of angle 2 plus 59 plus 21 will equal 180 degrees. And so 59 plus 21 is 80. So the measure of angle 2 plus 80 will equal 180. We subtract the 80. And the measure of angle 2 will equal 100 degrees. Same for angle 3. Measure of angle 3 plus 50 plus 45 equals 180. 50 plus 45 is 95, so we know that the measure of angle 3 plus 95 equals 180. Subtract from 180. And so the measure of angle 3 will be 85 degrees. I'm going to do angle 4 up here. Measure of angle 4 plus 65 plus 20 equals 180. So I know that the measure of angle 4 plus 65 plus 20 is 85 equals 180 degrees. We're going to subtract the 85 from both sides. So our measure of angle 4 will equal 95 degrees. And so that's how simple the interior angles theorem is. I just know that all three angles have to add up to 180 degrees. So here looking at example 2, the diagram shows a ladder against a wall and the angle that the ladder makes with the ground. What is the value of x? Well, when it comes to the fact that we know that we have to add up to 180, we also have to keep in mind that this square in the corner of this triangle is a right triangle, makes this a right triangle, which makes that angle 90 degrees. And what makes this nice and easy, we call this the corollary to the triangle, or the interior angle theorem, and that is because we know that 90 is half of 180. And so because I know that 90 is half of 180, if we have a right triangle, then the two acute angles, let's go ahead and just make the symbol. The two acute angles add to 90. And again, the reason is if this is 90 degrees, I know that 180 minus 90 equals 90. That leaves only 90 degrees left for these other two angles. So now I can just do x plus 63 equals 90, and take 90 minus 63, and we get that x is 27. So that's one way to do it. You could still do the fact that this all adds up to 180, and so you would have had x plus 63 plus 90 equals 180, and our 63 plus 90 would give us the fact that x plus 153 equals 180. Subtract your 153, and we would end up with x equals 27 as well. So either way, either you remember that because it's a right triangle, you can just subtract from 90, or set it up like we set up the last four, add them all up. Just remember that the square is a 90-degree angle, and you can't forget that. All right, so here's our last one, example 3. What are the measures of the angles of triangle J, K, and L? So in order to find the measures of each of these angles, we have to find what x equals. And so that's just going to become a longer equation. So we're going to take 2x minus 14 plus 3x plus 10 plus x minus 2, and that will all equal 180 degrees. And so then we'll combine our like terms. 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 1 is 6, so we have 6x. We have a negative 14 plus 10 plus a negative 2 or minus 2, and we end up with a negative 6 equals 180. We're going to add 6 to both sides. So we know that 6x will equal 186. And then we're going to divide both sides by 6. So 186 divided by 6 gives us that x equals 31 degrees. Now once I have that, then it didn't ask for what x equals, it asked for what are the measures of the angles, and so now I need to just plug in and find the different angles. So for the measure of angle J, we know that, so measure of angle J will equal 2x minus 14. We know that x is 31, so we have 2 times 31 minus 14. 2 times 31 is 62, so 62 minus 14 gives us 48. So the measure of angle J equals 48 degrees. So that's one answer. And then we do the same for K. So the measure of angle K will equal 3 times 31 plus 10, because we're going to replace x with our 31. 3 times 31 is 93, so 93 plus 10 is 103 degrees. So the measure of angle K equals 103 degrees. And so last but not least, our measure of angle L. Measure of angle L will be x minus 2, which is 31 minus 2, and 31 minus 2 is 29. So the measure of angle L equals 29 degrees. And so that's how we find all three given a more algebraic problem. And so that is it for the interior angles theorem.